In this episode, I joined Josh Peacock on the Gym Heroes podcast, where we talked about increasing closing rates, the pre-sale process, referrals, managing objections, and many other topics.
Use a credit card to confirm appointment. A lot of people don't like doing it. They say, oh, people aren't going to like that. And when we get them to do it, they go, my book rate, my show rate is literally like 95 to 100%.
How do you manage objections?
Well, first you have to find out what the real objection is, because most time we're overcoming an objection that's not a real objection. And usually an objection comes up because we did a pretty poor job in the sales process.
These are practical tips you can start using today. So let's get into the interview.
We believe there's 4 pillars that every business, not just fitness, but any business should really get nailed down. And the first one's people. That includes leadership, getting the right people in the right seats, doing the right things right, and making sure we're a cohesive team working together well. Next is sales, which includes marketing, branding, PR, obviously sales. Next is money, which is out of the top 5 reasons why businesses go out of business. 2 of those 5 reasons is because of mismanagement of money. So really knowing how to look at money, make decisions based on it. And 4th is strategy. This is, here's where we're going, here's why we're going there, and here are how we set goals and priorities along the way per year, per quarter, per month, in order to make sure we're getting there on time.
Sales is a mystery to a lot of operators, and I gather that you really like sales and you believe it's an important aspect of growing any business really, but especially fitness businesses. What's something that any gym owner can do that automatically increases their closing rates for prospects that walk through the door?
So we have an entire certification, like a course, a university for sales training. And there's a handful of things that you can do to get immediate impact. I would say the easiest one that people can start doing right away is being able to, when they first have their meeting, they do an intake meeting, which is every gym should be doing. That's, you got your intake form, you got all the questions you ask, injuries, allergies, all that stuff. But in those questions, you're also having questions around possible objections that you already know are going to come up, whether they're objections around spousal, time, money, whatever. So all these things we know are going to come up. So what we're doing is we're actually overcoming the objections in the intake process. And then as we're going through the rest of the demo, all the way up until where we're actually presenting program options, we're actually pre-selling or we're planting seeds that help us combat these objections that are going to come up or won't if you do this right, so that we can actually just go right to sale. People that do this right away notice usually a 3 to 4x increase in conversion rates. And it's literally like clockwork. We've not seen anybody start implementing this that wasn't doing it right, that didn't see a drastic increase in sales closing.
What goes into pre-selling versus like selling?
If you and I want you to go to a restaurant, I really want you to like it because I really like it. I might say, oh man, Josh, you're going to love the steak here. This steak is amazing. Get the ribeye though. The ribeye is the best one. It's like this, it's juicy. I describe it. Or, oh, you're going to love Game of Thrones. You especially would love Game of Thrones because I know you love this and that's what this is about. So we pre-sell all the time before they actually go do the thing. We're doing the same thing here. So I say, Josh, based on you, I know you're a steak lover, or based on you, I know you love fantasy type series. Same thing here. Based on your goals, based on where you're wanting to go, this thing, whatever it is, the workout or the style of workout or the progression or the supplements or whatever it is, this is exactly what people with your goals really, really work well with. You especially are going to get a lot out of this. So there's certain things we could do called pre-selling that we do all the time in business. But also what's really good is when you're looking at the intake form, and one of the options in there might be how many days per week are you currently working out? And now they go ahead and circle however many those are. Well, we already know now how many times they can come. So if they say, I don't have the time, you're already working out this many times. And if they say, not currently working out, then say, what days are you available to work out? And then they circle those. And almost every time, variably, they're circling 3 to 4 different options, right? And so now I'm sitting down and I go, so it looks like you're able to work out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, no matter what. Yes? Okay, perfect. That's a great start. That's actually all we really need if we can get that done. Now that we've got that, Josh, when we get down, I don't have the time. Well, you already said, well, first off, it's not even going to come up because it's already been tied. So a lot of these things that we fear getting, the best part about it is you don't get them when you overcome them in the beginning and you continue to reference throughout.
So we got pre-selling, and that's very clever. Most people aren't doing that, and that's something that it can change immediately to help them. What are the steps of a good sales process in front of or after the pre-selling process?
Well, the pre-selling happens from the moment you find out what their goals are all the way up until we're ready to show programs. So there's nothing really before or after it, as that's encompassed. It's happening throughout. But there's a few things that are very important. And some of them are simple and they're fundamental stuff that anybody would be like, well, yeah, of course. But you'd be surprised how many people don't do it. For owners or managers that are listening right now, if you're ever assuming that your people are doing everything in the sales process the way that you designed it to be, send in a shopper, tell a friend, a family member, something like that to go in, pretend to be a prospect and get their intake or input and say, like, this is what's supposed to happen. Let me know how it goes. When they come back, you'll be surprised. A lot of the stuff that you thought would be happening isn't happening, even on the phone call. So I would say first thing is when the phone call comes in, or take it back before that, the lead comes in. You got to call these leads within 5 minutes of them coming in. There's a 900% decrease in the likelihood of you getting somebody on the phone if you wait longer than 5 minutes. This is a study published by MIT, and HubSpot actually kind of made that study big. This is about 6 years ago, but it's still maintained generally true. Because the phone's still in their hand. 92% of the activity is happening on mobile. So if somebody's seeing an ad on Facebook, 92% of the activity is on mobile. So if that lead was just submitted, the phone's probably still in their hands, which is where you want it to be if you're making the call to the lead, right? Okay. So number one, call them right away. Number two, when you call, this sounds fundamental, Josh, but I have a franchise. I'll give you an example. All the stuff I'm about to tell you, as fundamental as it is, I'm about to explain to you. I've got a franchise that has a lot of studios. And they were saying that they weren't able to convert a lot of their leads. I said, give me a list of your franchise locations. So I got this list and I was like, I'm going to call as many as I can. I literally called it if I had a nickel. The concept was if I had a nickel for every deal that you should have booked, but you didn't, I'll go until I get $1, right? So basically 20. Now, anytime they book somebody, then I take a nickel out, right? So now we're getting I'll call as many as I need to. It took 21 calls for me to find 20 people that didn't do it right, that didn't book me. So when first off, out of the 21, 11 didn't even answer the phone. This was 3:00 on a Wednesday. That's step one in making a sale, right? Be available. Step one. 11 didn't answer the phone. Out of the 11 that didn't answer the phone, 2 called me back. I left voicemails for all of them. 2 called me back. So if you're not checking on your front desk, your salespeople that should be doing this, I would encourage you to do, because they were all surprised. All these owners, they thought they had this buttoned up. Okay, now out of the 9 that I did get on the call, 2 of them answered the phone like this. Hello? As crazy as it sounds, we're talking fundamental stuff, right? But this is a big franchise. That's a big public company, right? And they're doing this, okay? So now I keep going. Okay. Of all those people, they all overtalked. None of them, about half of them didn't even know my name. None of them really asked me about my goals and what I'm really looking for. And when it came down to the end, Josh, that was such a good lead. I said, is it okay if my wife comes too? They were like, yeah, absolutely. Nobody asked what my wife's name was. And then when I said, that sounds great. Well, let me talk to her and find out when would be a good time for us to come in. Is it okay if I give you a call back? They all said, yeah. Nobody, well, one, other than that one, which I count as the 1 out of the 21, right? One of them went and actually booked me, right? All the others said, yeah, just give us a call back whenever. Of those, 1 person called me back. 1 called me back. I had 2 sales for him, and I was excited. So the point is, before you even get the person in the studio, are you doing the right things in the sales process to get them in the studio? Yeah, we all know those things should be done. There's not one person that's listening to me right now that goes, none of this is groundbreaking. No, it's not. That's the worst part, is that this is being done and you don't even know it. So I would definitely recommend shopping. We shop our clients for our clients, and we'll actually go like, hey, look, listen to the recording. Let me know what you think. And they'll be like, I can't believe this is happening. Yeah, change that, just that alone. and watch sales rise. When you're booking them, you always get them to bring a friend. It's better to get 2 sales versus 1 any day of the week. So, hey, Josh, it looks like the class that you chose, actually, it's one of our most popular instructors. This class is fire. It's great. People love it. Usually it's booked, but there's actually 2 spots open. So you're getting one of them, but I would recommend bringing a friend to this one. I think they're going to have a lot of fun. Who did you want to bring with you? You'll be surprised, but 1 out of every 3 people bring another person. 1 out of every 3. So if you're talking, you're booking people in a month, you actually just booked 40. Right? Okay. So that's another way. The next thing is show rates. Get the credit card. Use a credit card to confirm appointment. A lot of people don't like doing it. They say, oh, people aren't going to like that. You know what's funny? Everyone says that. And when we get them to do it, they go, my book rate, my show rate is literally like 95 to 100%. Of course it is. And guess what? Out of like 20 people, maybe one of them is going to have an issue to where you're not going to get their credit card. About 5 or 7 of them are going to actually give you like a pushback where they're going to say, why do I need to give you my credit card? In which you just respond with, oh, it's just because it's reservation based. So we have these spots reserved for our members, but we're giving it to you. So there's no charge. It's 100% on us. The only time you get charged is if for some reason you don't make it. And even if you can't make it, just give us a call ahead of time so we know we can open up to a member. Make sense? Yes. Okay, great. So Amex, Visa, MasterCard, I'm ready when you are. That's it. Ready to go. They give you the card. From there alone, you're going to see an increase in show rates. If you just fix all that, Josh, before they even walked into your gym, that alone, you're going to see an increase in sales. And then there's a plethora of stuff you could do once they're in the door as well. That's a whole, we'll go down a rabbit hole if you want for that.
You said that pre-selling should get you past most obstacles or most objections, but if objections do pop up later in the sales process, how do you manage objections?
Well, first you have to find out what the real objection is, because most time we're overcoming an objection that's not a real objection. And usually an objection comes up because we did a pretty poor job in the sales process. So I want you to imagine 2 people on a date, right? Jack and Jill. And if Jack goes and picks up Jill for a date, is there a chance, Josh, that just on the car ride to the restaurant alone, based on what Jack did, how he talked, whatever, that Jill already made a decision like, why am I on this date? I shouldn't be here, right? Like this, there'll never be another date. She's already made a decision, right? Early on. And then let's say he did okay there. They get to the restaurant. I mean, there's so many opportunities for him to lose his sale down the road, right? Before the drinks come, before the appetizers come. Maybe he makes fun of the fact that she wants to be a vegan and she's annoyed by it. Or he just talked about how awesome he is for 20 minutes, or how he suggested she shouldn't get that drink and she's just annoyed. Whatever it is, there's plenty of opportunity for him to lose the sale. He got the sale from the beginning, because no one goes on a date for no reason unless you're looking to get more out of this, right? So same thing goes. No one walks into a gym just because they got nothing to do. We got lots of things to do in our life, right? I'm here because I want something that I think could provide. So the sale is yours to lose from the beginning. And now it's just about not losing the sale. Now go back to Jack and Jill. If let's say Jill already made the decision early on or anywhere throughout that she's not going to be with Jack, there was no second date. Jack goes at the end of the night, walks her to the door and goes, hey, I had a lot of fun. We should do this again next week. Now, Jill's not going to straight out say, no, I don't like you. She's going to give a make-believe objection because she doesn't want to hurt his feelings. So she's going to say something like, oh, next weekend's kind of tough. I actually have, a final for math I got to study for, and I've really got to zone in. Now, he overcomes the objection marvelously. And he says something like, oh, really, math? I'm actually a math tutor at the university. This is great. I can help you. That's a great rebuttal, right? But that's not why she actually doesn't want to go. It has nothing to do with the math, right? So now she comes up with another objection. And she goes, oh, you know what? It's just I have my way of doing it. And so like I have a weird way of learning. I got a learning issue. So I got to do it like my way or it doesn't work. Okay, well, what about the week after? Oh, I got family coming into town, right? So there's always another objection. The reason is because we're not even overcoming the real objection. And that's where you hear people say, oh, you know what? I don't know. I think I need to talk to my husband. Okay, well, hey, let's get your husband on the call. Or why don't you bring your husband in? Or whatever the objection or rebuttal or overcome is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then from there, she goes, yeah, well, also it's tough because we're going to be going out of town for the next like month. And I don't even know when I'll be able to do it. Oh, no big deal. We can sign you up and freeze your account for a month. Yeah, but also with finances, right? There's always another objection because we're not tackling the actual objection. Here's a real objection. I don't want to use my money in exchange for what you're giving me. That's it. That's the real thing. I'd rather have the money in my account than in yours for what you're going to give me. And we know that's true because you can't afford it can't be true. Right now, the average American had $5,300 in credit card debt in 2019. Now, the most recent is $7,100 in credit card debt. More than 80% of that credit card debt is on non-essentials, meaning we don't even need it. It's wants, right? Sushi, hot tub, whatever. Doesn't matter. Anything that's not necessary. More than 80% of that. What that means, Josh, is that people don't buy what they need. They buy what they want. And so throughout the sales process, we've got to do what we can to get people to want something, not make it feel like it's something that they need. If we can get them to truly desire and want it, and we're doing that by tying it to their goals, which is, remember, they're here because they want something. We just got to make sure that we're showing that this is it. We are that thing. And we got to plant seeds. We've got to overcome objections throughout. And we've got to tie everything that we're talking about to their goal and the why behind that goal throughout that hour. You do that, you're going to do much better. Being a better date is practicing how to be a better date is way more valuable than practicing how to overcome objections when the girl says she doesn't want to go on a second date.
Speaking of that, what are some words and phrases you should avoid saying during that process?
Weak words. So anything that is gray, no black and white. My most hated word, we don't use it in our company, it's not used in my house, is the word try. We don't say it. In fact, every year, teachers call, because I got 4 kids. So the youngest ones, they don't know how to explain it. They just know they're not allowed to say the word. Teachers will call, and I have conversations with them. And they say, Mike, your daughter seems to believe that try is a curse word and that she shouldn't say it. And I said, yeah, it is a curse word. And she goes, what do you mean? I explained to her how it creates weakness in language and how it can cause people to find her as weak as well. She goes, yeah, but isn't the word try applicable in some places? And I said, it is. All curse words are applicable in some places. Doesn't mean you use them. So certain words like try, right? Hey, we're going to try to get you there in the next 3 months. I want to see if you could try to be in here 3 to 4 days a week. We try to help people get in the best shape of their lives. No, we're going to get there within 3 months. I need you here at least 3 days a week. Goal is 4. We get people in the best shape of their lives. We speak passively. But what happens is when we speak with uncertainty, it creates uncertainty. Let's role play real quick. Invite me to a party this weekend.
Hey, I'm having a party this weekend. You want to come?
Yeah, I'll try to make it. What do you already know is going to happen, Josh?
There's basically a 10% chance you'll actually be there.
Okay, now let's do it again. Ask me again.
I'm having a party this weekend. You should come.
I'll be there. The words I chose created certainty in you because you knew I was certain, right? So when I go and I hear some of these sales pitches, yeah, so what kind of stuff have you been trying to do? And talk to me about what you're trying to get to. What are some of the goals that you'd like to be at? Give me an idea of where you'd like to be. That's all weak language. Try, maybe, could be, should be, probably. All these types of words, they create lack of certainty. But the truth is we need them to have max certainty in 4 areas. They have to have max certainty in the modality, meaning the style of fitness that you run. Yoga, cycle, whatever. That max certainty that this will help me get to my goal. Number 2, I have to have max certainty that your company is the one that's going to execute this the best in the way that you do yoga or in the way that you do cycle or Pilates or whatever. I have to believe in your philosophy in it. I have to have max certainty in the salesperson, whoever's talking to me. I have to believe that they are confident that I can get to my goal. I believe them. I have max certainty in their perspective of what we're going to get accomplished here. And lastly, this is the most important one, a lot of people ignore it, they have to have max certainty in themselves. They have to believe that this is going to be different this time. I'm not going to quit like I've always done. I'm not going to get lazy. I'm not going to make excuses. This time is different. I'm going to get it done here. An example I use is if you and I were basketball players on a team, we're the best two on the team by far, but we're equal on paper. Same percentage of shots made, turnovers, all that stuff, right? So now, here we go, end of the game, down by 1. We call a timeout. It's our ball. We got to make a big decision here on what play we're going to run, okay? Who's going to get this ball? Only one of us can. Get in the huddle, the coach says, Mike, Josh, you two are the best players on the team. I've counted on you all year. What should we do? And you say, Coach, give me the ball. I'm going to try to make this shot. And I say, Coach, give me the ball. I will make this shot. Who's coach giving the ball to? One word made a championship decision happen. Yes, that's how powerful it is. So when we discredit it in our sales process, we're being a little silly.
So switching gear to marketing now. Paid ads are really expensive. SEO in local areas seems like it's up and down. Some people have good progress with it, but others seem like they don't get that much traffic. What marketing channels should gym owners be focused on when they're trying to grow their businesses?
So we'll talk to the budget one because I got a couple good ideas for people to get business on a budget. But first, when you say paid ads are expensive, what does that mean to you?
Well, Facebook, you used to be able to get leads for pennies on the dollar, but now you're spending 10, 15, 20, 30, even more than that to gain a lead.
So let me ask you a question. What's a good deal for a sandwich? Let's say at Jimmy John's or Subway or something. What's a good deal on a sandwich?
Yeah, probably $5 or $6.
So if all of a sudden Subway started giving out sandwiches for 10 cents and they did that for a year, and then all of a sudden sandwiches went back up to $5, $6, is it expensive, or is it you've been spoiled and you didn't take advantage of it the way you should have over a few years? Because in no time in history were people getting leads for pennies on the dollar. It comes down to two numbers. When making decisions on how much we should spend on marketing and is it worth it, It's just two numbers, CAC, LTV. That's it. CAC, which is customer acquisition costs, the amount of money I pay on average in order to acquire a customer, and LTV, lifetime value, the amount of money a customer is worth to my business. So if I am buying, let's say, this calculator for $1 so I can sell it, if I sell it for 2 or 3, I'm making a profit. If I sell it for 50 cents, I'm losing money, right? So we just need to make sure the LTV is larger than the CAC. I like to see more, at minimum, of 4x on that number. Some people can easily get 10 or 15x, which is great. But I'm gonna show you how this works. So let's say the average member at a gym pays $150 a month. What we need to know is how long we keep that average member for. And if we know that, then we know what their lifetime value is, right? Because we just multiply how much they pay per month, multiply by how many months they pay us. A lot of people have a hard time coming up with that number. How do we determine how many months somebody stays with us? I mean, especially with like if we're a young gym, we're only 2 years old, 3 years old, that data is off. Here's how you do it. Most people at least know what their attrition is, which is the percentage of people they lose on a monthly basis. So let's say we started February with 100 members, easy numbers. And of those 100 members, we lost 6 of them, okay? We have a 6% attrition. Now, let's say when we look back at previous months, we've averaged about that, about a 6% attrition over the last 6-7 months, right? That's what our attrition currently is. What that means is we lose 6% of our active members on a monthly basis. So how to figure out how long somebody stays with you is very simple. You take the number 1, you divide it by 6%, and what you get is 16.66. What that means is your average member stays for over 16 months. So if your average member pays you $150 a month, you multiply that by 16.66, the average member is worth $2,400. Now, let's say we're wanting a 10x return. That means we want to acquire members for $2,400 divided by 10, which is $240. We don't want to spend more than $240 in order to acquire a member. If we want a 10x return, which is fantastic, right? So now we go, okay, well,
right.
If I spent $2,400 in marketing, I should have at least gotten 10 members. Then I can make sense of it, right? But in reality, it's even less than that. So the point is we want to go, okay, is my marketing working? Well, if I spent $5,000 on marketing efforts and I got 20 members from that, I paid $250 to acquire a member. That is a great deal. Now, how do we make that a better deal? So there's several other lines in the water you can do outside of paid ads, and we teach all that in our portal. But let's just go on the simplest one, the one that can just fraction it all the way down right away. And everyone can start doing it today. So when you sign up a member, on average, our gyms that work with us, they get an average of over 2 referrals at the point of every sale. Our best average 7 referrals at the point of every sale. I'm not even kidding. That's our best. That is one guy though. That's our best. Next best after that's 3s. Okay.
Wow.
So, but if we can get 2 to 3 referrals at the point of every sale, think about what that means to the business, right? So let's say you sign up 30 members in the month, and on average, you got 3 referrals from each one of them. You just got 90 new leads from those 30 members that you didn't pay for. Because you didn't pay for them, anything that happens from it automatically drops your overall cost per acquisition down. Okay. So now out of these 90 leads, let's say, even though the referrals, we should close higher, let's say we only convert 1 out of every 3 of them, which would mean we got another 30 members. So we had 30. Now we got another 30. Then from there, we get another 3 referrals from each one of them. We got another 90 referrals. And then we get another 30. And that keeps going. That's all from the same one cost. So that 250 acquisition cost in that first cut is 125. And then it keeps going down, keeps going down. The best gyms we work with are paying not just pennies on the dollar for a lead, Josh. They're paying pennies on a dollar for a member, because next month we got more leads coming and we're going to do this again. So it's infinite return times infinite return. And every month we keep doing that over and over and over again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I think that there's a lot of, especially martial arts instructors, that have never thought about it that way. They're worried about what does it cost right now, immediately. That looks like a high number. But they're not thinking about how long do these members stay and how much are they worth to me over the tenure of that stay.
Absolutely. And here's the best part. People that join a gym because they came via referral, over 20% increase in retention, meaning you're keeping them for over 20% longer than the average person. So what that means, Josh, is that's going to improve your lifetime value for your customers, right? Which means now instead of $2,400, it's actually going to be more like $3,000 or higher, which means you have the ability to spend even more money than your competitors to acquire a customer. And because you understand this concept, you win. Here's a way to look at it. We have a phrase in our business: amateurs add, professionals multiply. You're never going to lose customers by division. You're going to always lose it by subtraction. We lost 2 members today. We lost 4 members today. So if you add members, we added 3 members today. We added 4 members, and you're losing, you're going to hit a plateau. But if you're multiplying, we added 3 members, which means we got 90 more leads, and we're going to add 30 more, and then we're getting more leads on a regular basis. You're playing multiplication to get, and you're only losing in subtraction.
So we've talked about how to keep that customer acquisition cost continuing to go down and the lifetime value of your members to go up. One way I think you can do that also is to find ways to keep your marketing costs as low as possible. And artificial intelligence seems to be all the rage right now in that area. So how have your gyms been leveraging AI to help them with their marketing?
Well, first, we're using it. Number one, we're using it. It's funny. I had a person that come up to me and they said, "Why should we pay you more if you're using AI to make it easier for you to get things done? Like, should we pay you less now? Shouldn't our price go down?" My response was, in 1850s, the clipper was created for barbers.
Yeah.
So they don't have to use a scissor anymore. So they get things done better and faster now because they have clippers. Now, would you rather pay more money for the guy still using scissors, taking longer to get you out and giving you a worse haircut? Or would you pay more for the money using the clippers so he can do a better haircut and get you out faster? What would you rather have? In my world, if you're using an agency that's not using AI, you're spending too much money already because that agency is using a human brain as opposed to the combination of human and artificial intelligence. you're spending more money for something to take longer to get done, longer to get tested and optimized, and probably not done as well, versus working with a company that's leveraging these tools. I want to work with people that are using them. At this point, for all my vendors, if you're not using AI, like I feel like I'm going to pay more because it's going to take you longer to do it. Yeah. So that's number one. But number two, we've got people using AI internally, like their gyms, for stuff like, marketing campaigns. You can, stuff like ChatGPT can create Facebook ads for you really, really well. And you can tell it to use NLP, neuro-linguistic programming in the ads. You can tell it to use scarcity, urgency, say use rarity, science. We can even say, let's say I'm promoting a Pilates studio. I could say in the ad, use 3 stats around Pilates that would be intriguing to someone interested in joining a Pilates studio, right? You can do all that stuff. You could say, write it in the voice of Ryan Reynolds, right? So it's got a little humor to it and wittiness. You can do it for a landing page. You can do it for text messages, for voicemail scripts, email scripts, sales scripts, overcoming objections. Overcoming objections one I don't think is that great. But what I will tell you is you could use it for other stuff. Like, what's my LTV? And it'll ask you questions in order to give you the answer. So say like, well, what's your average dollar per member per month, right? You say 150. Great. What's your average attrition? You could say, how do I determine my attrition? It'll tell you. It's like talking to a computer, like a human, but that knows everything. See, with Google, it's different. You have to like sift through articles and learn how to decipher it and do it yourself. Here, you're talking to someone that's already done all that. So it's amazing. Slogan ideas. At our conference, GSDCon, we just had this weekend, I said, okay, let's come up with some slogan ideas. Who here wants a slogan? So a bunch of studios raised their hands. And I said, okay, how about yours? So I went ahead and typed in the type of studio they are, what they want to be known for, their unique value proposition. And then I said, give me 10 slogan ideas. They gave me 10. Now, out of the 10, 3 were good, 7 were not that good. But here's the deal, Josh. It happened in seconds. If a company was going to sit in a conference room table to come up with slogan ideas, how long would it take for them to come up with 10 where 3 are good? How long? Half hour, maybe longer? Seconds. Right. The hardest part is the white piece of paper, the blank page. But now I got 3 ideas. Oh, wow, these are pretty good. So then I write, give me 10 more ideas similar to 2, 5, and 7. And now it gave me 10 more ideas similar to those. And I just kept going until we found one. In a matter of minutes, they had a slogan. And they loved it. And it was better than anything they ever thought of. I got people to come up on stage. I said, who wants a song? And Josh, not kidding, we put the type of person, studio, all that. And in a matter of seconds, there was a rap song written. We played it over the karaoke version of Beastie Boys' Intergalactic, and we rapped it on stage live at our conference. And it was Bar 3 crew, they're standing. They lift each other up, they never. Together they're unstoppable, they're standing.
Yeah, definitely. That's so funny. Okay, so high tech should definitely be using it, but in the wake of COVID, I'm hearing, one of my friends is like a Parks and Rec guy. I'm hearing that a lot of like in-person events are really making a resurgence right now. Some of them are as popular as they've ever been. So are there effective, reliable offline marketing tactics that gyms can use to grow as well?
Yeah, philanthropy is great. So one of the things that I don't think a lot of people know this, but Josh, how much do you think it would cost to feed a child in a starving country for a month? What do you think it costs?
$20 maybe? I don't know.
$5 to $7, right? Through companies like Feed My Starving Children or Feeding America, right? About $5 to $7 to feed a child for an entire month. So the hardest thing is getting referrals for no reason, right? Because if I were to say to you, let's say we're friends and I say, hey, Josh, why don't you come to my gym, work out with me? It's pretty cool. Maybe I can get you there. But if I were to say like, hey, man, the gym that I go to, they're running this really cool promo. They're wanting to feed 300 children in starving countries for an entire month. And what we're doing is every person we bring in, they're going to feed a child for an entire month on your behalf. So I'm looking to bring in like 10 people myself. So did you want to come down with me? So now what happens, Josh, is we're bringing in, you say you want leads, right? Leads at pennies on the dollar. Right? But in reality, what you're saying is if I got a lead for $10, you'd probably be pretty happy, right? $10 would probably be pretty good.
Yep.
But what if you got a show, not a lead, not a book, but you got a show from a referral for $5 to $7? $5 to $7. right? So you can have events where you can have people come in like a closeout member appreciation, or you can just encourage people to come in and do the workouts with their friends, or a hybrid of both with a mission. We're looking to feed 300 children by the end of this month, right? Or by the end of this quarter, or by whatever, right? And you have like a thermometer thing that you can keep coloring every time more people come in, so people can really see the impact and be driving it and highlight the people that are getting the most people in. John's brought in 16 people. Who's going to be number one? I got a surprise. I got a special gift for whoever's done number one, right? Whatever it is, or even whoever's the number one, I'm going to match whatever they did. I mean, think about it. Now you're paying $10 to $12, $14 per show. It's great. So there's unique ways that you can really get a lot of people in the studio. I think people overthink it. Just get people in the door. There's a lot of cool ways to get people in the door. Just get people in the door. What can we do to get people in?
So let's say that you found yourself at like a local event, a fair, or like something for the summer, or there's lots of events around here. We'll do like a something called Autumn Treasures, where a lot of vendors will show up, and there's all kinds of things around us, and it's themed around the fall time, and there's thousands of people that come through there. Let's say that you have a presence there, you have a booth. What are some ways that you can leverage that presence and ensure that you capture as many quality leads as possible?
Yeah. So this is not a bad thing to do, but because it's not something you can do on autopilot, we spend very, very, very little time talking about this in our program. We spend the majority of our time talking about stuff that you can do every day, right? Like, because then it's predictable. Right. However, to answer your question, a lot of it's make noise. So if you're going to have a booth, be the loudest booth, be the one that's got the most at it at all times. So whether that's having some sort of like a putt thing and a person who gets the farthest putt wins, or, some sort of contest, like there's one where you could hang, whoever could hang from this bar for the longest wins, and you have the records so people can see what the records are, 1 minute, 58 seconds. So everyone's kind of lining up to do it. Yeah. But the point is, draw attention, get people to your booth. Remember the pizzeria example, right? You got two booths. One of them's got a packed house around it. The other one's wide open with two people just sitting there not talking to anybody. Which one do you want to go up to? So you got to make a lot of noise. And then when you're there, you got to get a lot of excitement around what you're doing and get people to come in for something free, where you can leverage philanthropy again and say, hey, what we're doing too, for everyone that actually comes in and does a workout, we're going to feed a child for an entire month. So are you open to helping feed a child for an entire month? Yeah. Awesome. Well, let's get you in. That's it. Right. So that would work well. But again, I spend more time working on things that I know I can do on a daily basis if needed.
How does your coaching program work with gym owners?
No, I love what we do, and I believe very much in what we do. The average gym owner program within the first days of working with us increases their monthly revenue by $8,300 plus in their first 30 days, right? In the first 60 days, it's over 16 grand. The average gym owner program sees an over 280% return on their investment within the first year, and over 88% growth in their revenue within the first year. So I love what we do. I believe in it. The top 10 franchisees at any franchise are usually in our program. Okay. Our tagline is where the best gyms go to grow. That can be confusing, but really the idea is I want to work with the best, or people that want to be the best. That's it. If there's somebody that's interested in kind of like just teaching classes, making a little money off of it, it's just going to be hard to be the best gym. You might have a great life, but you just may not be the best gym. That's what we're looking to work with.
Please subscribe, like, and leave a comment letting us know what you think and what free training videos you'd like to see more of in the future.